Is there anything like hypocrisy exist, or is it just being human? Is every human that talks about anything does some things which can be classified as hypocrites? And I am going to take example of politics. I don't know why so many people get triggered always when I'm talking about something political. Life is politics, and if you can't handle opinion, you know when to click off of a video. And I would say that click off this video if you can't handle opinions. So, with all that aside, we will take example of Karl Marx, the OG Marxist, the OG communist, the poster boy of communism, the poster boy of humanitarianism. So, what communism really is, what humanitarianism really is, that people should not be exploited, humans should be treated right, resources should be distributed to every human, and labor, corporate slave, all these things are wrong. Being somebody's slave is wrong. All these things, all these theories about communism, all these theories about humanitarianism, but his own life is not very communist. So Karl Marx had a maid, Helen, his whole life. And on Google, it's more like she was family, but at the end, a maid was still a maid. She was there for work. She was working in his house. How is that not slavery? He was so against working, he was so against being a corporate slave, being a slave for money, that he wrote these big ass books about how humans should not be slave to the wealthy, humans should not be slave to this and that, and how moral ethics and human rights, and became poster boy. But his own family was suffering because he refused to work. He refused to get a real job. His own family, he had 7 children with his wife and one illegitimate child with his maid. Not very communist of him, not very human human right poster boy of him. So there was a story. I'm going to tell you the story as it is. So, Karl Marx was already into this communist thing that he refused to get a real job, and because of the poverty that they faced, he had 7 children, but 4 of them died of poverty because of poverty, and only 3 daughters survived. But he also had a illegitimate child with the maid Helen. But because he was poster boy of communism, his reputation would have been damaged if this news got out. It's just so funny to me how when the people talk about, communism, they talk about how labor is very bad and how all the humans deserve all the resources, blah 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 blah. So they like Karl Marx is the poster boy of communism, and his own life was not very communist. So not communist, so not human right man of him. So when this illegitimate child actually came into this world, लड़का था, उसका नाम था Freddie. He had a son with the maid Helen, whose name, the child's name was Freddie. And there came a rich friend of Karl Marx. So when the maid Helen gave birth to Freddie, Karl Marx's wife was also pregnant, and she was under so much stress that this illegitimate child is going to ruin Karl's political image and is going to ruin his marriage. So there came a rich friend as a savior, Frederick. He was bachelor and a factory heir who came into rescue, and he claimed the paternity responsibility for Karl Marx's child. This thing never got out until Frederick was on his deathbed. He was dying of throat cancer. He could not speak, so he wrote on a chalkboard that Freddie is Karl Marx's son, not his. So I don't really understand how this is so communist. Humans are hypocrite like that. They say something else, they do something else. somebody can preach about morals all day and then go do something so immoral that will completely contradict with their personality. That is exactly what happened with Ranbir Alabadia. He is so into spirituality talks and like all the mature topics here and there. All the parents, all the elderly like him, and then he goes and says something like what he said on Latent and gets cancelled nationwide. I just don't understand if hypocrisy is something else than human nature, or is it just that humans happen to be hypocrites? All the humans are hypocrites. I don't know how many of you are going to agree with me on this statement, but I really think that hypocrisy is part of human nature because this is not the only thing which is hypocrite. I'm going to give you another political example, and if you think that this is too political, then you can get the hell out of this video. What are you doing, anyways? So, Indian left, specifically, I'm talking about Indian self proclaimed liberals, left people. They say that all life matters. They say that people's life matters, which I agree with. Of course, it does. But whenever it's a terrorist attack, they are first one to support terrorist. They want to see what he has to say. Someone who killed innocent people should not be given the opportunity to clarify his side because there is nothing to clarify. There is only one thing, that he killed innocent people. But they do not think like that. They think that there are layers inside of it that needs to get out. They uphold their moral standards so hypocritically that they have more sympathy to the terrorist than to the victims, which is again hypocrite in nature. But I really think at this point that hypocrisy is just part of the human nature. It is not really act in itself. Humans don't even know when they are being hypocrite, and they just do things that are hypocrite. They say shit like all lives matter, and then they go kill animals, not themselves, but they eat non-veg. How can you have chicken in this hand and talk that life matters? Because you clearly don't mean that. So why are you even saying something like this?